Hey everyone, and welcome. So, we've all been amazed by generative AI like ChatGPT, right? It can write, it can create, it can have a pretty convincing conversation. But today, we're going to look beyond the conversation. We're going to explore a completely different kind of AI, one that's built not just to talk, but to decide. And believe me, the difference between those two things, it changes everything. So let's just kick things off with a big question. Yeah, ChatGPT can write you a beautiful poem or a solid marketing email, but could you actually ask it to run a global supply chain? Juggling thousands of trucks, ships, and deadlines in real time? The answer is just no. And that one question right there, it shows this huge blind spot in how we usually think about AI. And that's what we're talking about today, Gen AI's big blind spot. Because for all of their incredible power, these language models have a really fundamental limitation that can honestly make or break a modern business. Here's the best way to think about it. Generative AI is a brilliant talker. It's an absolute master of language. It can chew through mountains of text and summarize it. It can brainstorm ideas. It can whip up new content based on all the data it's learned from. It's fantastic at descriptive stuff. But here's the catch. Describing a problem is a totally different skill from actually solving it. This really puts Gen AI in the category of descriptive AI. It looks at the world of data as it is, and it can explain that world back to you in 1,000 different ways. So it can tell you all about past shipping routes, sure, but it can't calculate the single best, most optimal route for 1,000 deliveries right now, factoring in traffic, weather, and how many trucks you have available. And this is where the big split happens. On one hand, you have Gen AI. It describes, it summarizes, it can give you some general recommendations. But on the other hand, you have something totally different, autonomous optimization models, or AOMs. Their whole job is to optimize, decide, and then execute. They don't just talk about the problem. They go in and actually enact the solution. Which brings us to the hero of our story today, autonomous optimization. This is the technology that was built from the ground up to fill that huge decision-making gap that Gen AI leaves behind. Okay, so what exactly is an AOM? Well, it's a type of AI that is always on, always learning from new data. It's continuously optimizing to find the absolute best outcome, and it executes those decisions automatically. And it does all of this while balancing dozens, sometimes thousands, of messy real-world constraints, things like budgets, deadlines, and physical capacity. So how does this actually work under the hood? The easiest way is to think of an AOM like a super intelligent automated management team. First, you have your specialists. These are like your PhD-level AI agents, each one trained to solve one specific problem perfectly, like routing or pricing. Then you have the translator. This is the manager who sees the big picture and tells the right specialist which task to tackle. And the whole thing runs on a powerful toolkit of data engines that handle all the critical stuff like forecasting and simulation to make it all happen. Now, this unique setup gives AOMs basically 4 superpowers. They learn and get better all the time, not just once. Number 2, and this is huge, they can actually explain why they made a decision, which is absolutely vital for building trust. They're also incredibly resilient. They adapt when things go wrong. And finally, they plug right into the systems a business already uses to run itself. All right, so that's the theory, which is cool and all, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's take a look at how AOMs are helping businesses ditch their static spreadsheets and build dynamic, winning strategies. It really boils down to this. AOMs aren't about being fluent in language. They're about being fluent in mathematical reality. They thrive on the messy, complex problems that are all about optimization, constraints, and constant, never-ending change. Let's start with something we all see every day, logistics. An AOM can look at thousands of packages, hundreds of drivers, live traffic data, and in a matter of seconds, it can calculate the most efficient route for every single vehicle. That's a classic optimization puzzle that it's impossible to solve with a spreadsheet or by asking a chatbot. Or think about the last time you booked a flight. AOMs are the brains behind that dynamic pricing. They are constantly looking at demand, what competitors are charging, and booking patterns, and then adjusting the price of every single seat on every flight to maximize revenue. That's an AOM at work. And it gets even more sophisticated. What about hitting sustainability goals? An AOM can look at a shipment and figure out the perfect mix of fast, expensive, high-emission air freight versus the slower, cheaper, low-emission sea freight. Why? To make sure it hits both the delivery deadline and the company's carbon reduction target. That's what we call multi-objective optimization. And this isn't just about making companies more money. It has a real human impact. In the public sector, AOMs have been used to optimize ambulance routes and figure out where to position them. The result? An 11% cut in emergency response times, with the exact same budget. That saves lives. This all sounds amazing, but you're probably wondering, what does it actually mean for the bottom line? Let's look at the hard numbers, the measurable results that AOMs are delivering for businesses right now. Honestly, the results are pretty staggering. By optimizing literally everything from delivery routes to energy sourcing, companies are seeing a pretty consistent cost reduction of 5 to 15%. But it's not just about spending less, it's also about performing better. We're seeing service levels, things like on-time delivery rates, improve by 5 to 15 percentage points. You're saving money and making customers happier. And this is a huge one for today's world. In a world totally focused on sustainability, AOMs are delivering a massive 8 to 20% drop in CO2 emissions. And that's just by making smarter, more efficient choices every single second of the day. But even these incredible numbers don't quite capture the real game changer here, which is resilience. When a supplier is late or a storm shuts down a port, an AOM doesn't panic. It instantly recalculates and reoptimizes the entire system to work around that disruption. It's basically a built-in shock absorber for your entire operation. So if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. AOMs are not just a fancy add-on for Gen AI. They are a completely new way of making decisions. They represent a fundamental shift from AI that describes the world to AI that autonomously runs and optimizes it. And that leaves us with a really big question to think about. When every single operational decision, from logistics and pricing to staffing and energy use, can be continuously and perfectly optimized in real time, what changes? The answer is, well, probably everything. Thanks for joining me.